Hey guys, Scripture here with another video, and it's been a while since I cited a Screen Rant article, but the first Star Wars story after Rise of Skywalker announced, continuing Finn and Jannah's story. Okay, I always just felt like it was just kind of like there to be there. Like they wouldn't commit fully to the whole Rey Finn thing that JJ certainly alluded to in the first one. Then they're like, oh, well, we don't really want... because they had no plan. Oh, we don't really want Rey to be with Finn anymore. We want to make it more interesting with her and Ben. So Rian Johnson changed that. And then Ben, or Kylo and Rey had Force Skype with shirts off and things of that nature. And then they moved on from Rose and brought in Jannah. So the whole thing is a little bit... it's kind of stupid, right? It's like you have the tag team, you have the duo in the first one, Rey Finn, then you have the duo in the second one, Rose Finn, which was cringe, but whatever. They had a full-blown arc in the movie, or at least storyline in the movie, that took up a fairly significant amount of time, whether you like it or not. Obviously, most of us don't. And then they moved on from that and sort of shoehorned in this Jannah character. If you were going to continue with Finn after the Rise of Skywalker with somebody other than Rey, I think it would make more sense if it was Rose, because they had like a full-blown storyline. Again, I think it was stupid, but Rose did save him from killing himself, which in the context of the movie wasn't very good, but in the context of a relationship would be fairly significant, I would think. And then I looked at the Rise of Skywalker. They literally have maybe 2.5 minutes of screen time together. And she's just kind of tagging along while Finn runs after and yells Rey. And I mean, she was there at the very end, I guess, with him, but it wasn't very significant. So I don't know why this would be the road they would go down. I guess they have to now, right? Because they already screwed up the first two possible sort of duo stories. Star Wars is continuing the story of Finn and Jannah in the first new novel. The first novel set after Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. So it's the first post-Rise of Skywalker storyline. It's been 6 years since the Rise of Skywalker, and the galaxy's future and the fate of its heroes remains a mystery. We know Daisy Ridley is returning as Rey in the new Jedi Order movie. If that ever happens, probably won't. But what about characters such as John Boyega's Finn and Naomi Ackie's Jannah? Well, we kind of all assumed that Finn would be in the new Jedi Order movie if it was actually being made. But I guess not. I mean, they had that big embrace at the end of the Rise of Skywalker and stuff. I don't know. You'd think it would be Rey, Finn, and Poe, who one of the only good things I will give JJ credit for is in the Rise of Skywalker, the banter between the three of them felt very much like OT Star Wars. Their personalities were showing, it was funny, and Poe and C-3PO, did well. You did get those vibes. Maybe you could say, well, it was too much like Han, but you know what? It still felt, from a character-to-character perspective, a lot better than what we got in The Last Jedi, and I would say TFA as well. According to Penguin Random House, this story will finally be told in an upcoming novel by New York Times bestselling author Kwame Mbalia, Star Wars The Last Order, releasing on October 21st. The synopsis promises an exciting adventure set after the fall of the First Order. Now, this is where this becomes more than just about Finn and Jannah. This becomes about what Disney's doing with the First Order, and essentially the Empire Part 2 with Chad Palpatine behind it and everything. Following the end of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, the Resistance rescues a ship full of young passengers who had been kidnapped by the First Order. As Finn and Jannah set out to find the First Order officer responsible before he can endanger any more children, the two former stormtroopers must wrestle with their own complicated past as soldiers of the oppressive regime. So the First Order gets obliterated, basically. I guess they're going to go with the same thing they're going with post OT, which is just the remnants of the First Order, and they're still clinging to this idea that they can kidnap young kids and turn them into stormtroopers. It's like, remember at the end of when Disney took over, they wrote Aftermath, which took place after the Return of the Jedi, and they said that the Empire was completely obliterated, like it was over. Jakku was the final fight, and then now they're retconning that because they're like, oh, we need more content, so now there's like remnants of the Empire, and there's the Shadow Council, and there's Thrawn, and there's all this stuff. It's like, can you guys just decide what to do before you do it? Because you know what would have been really cool? If you'd done the EU storyline, which you don't say the Empire's done. It takes a bunch of years after that. Or say that it's over on Jakku and then have something new. Something different. Right? No! Take a deep dive into the pasts of popular characters Finn and Jannah in this richly drawn, action-packed story. The other thing about the whole, like, duo thing that kind of weakens this a bit, too, is, yes, they were both former stormtroopers. Okay, fine. I didn't know they had girl stormtroopers, but whatever. It's actually more interesting if a former stormtrooper is in a duo with somebody who wasn't a former stormtrooper, somebody who has a different background, that brings different ideas and experiences to the table. Rather than, oh, we both got taken as young people, we both got numbered, we both, like, you know, that little scene in The Rise of Skywalker. That's actually not as cool as it could have been. Even with somebody like Rose, like I said from the beginning, like Rose should have been viewed as, like they say she's a mechanic. She should have been like a top mechanic in the Resistance, like somebody who could fix anything, like Imperial ships, whatever. And she gives them this huge advantage. Like, get rid of Canto Bite and do something like that where Finn protects her from an attack because the First Order either wants her to work for them or wants her dead because she is able to accomplish things that nobody else is able to accomplish. Kind of like Wilman in Andor, where he's like a freak engineer, right? Like, that would have been more interesting. You know, top mechanic with former stormtrooper. Now it's, you know, they could steal ships, they could do all types of crazy stuff. Now it's just two former stormtroopers. It's not actually as interesting, you know what I mean? I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they do anything that they do. This upcoming young adult novel reveals the First Order isn't truly gone after the rise of Skywalker. Palpatine's Zyston-class Star Destroyers have been destroyed, but First Order forces are still out there. One is clearly aiming to rebuild the Stormtrooper army by kidnapping children and brainwashing them into serving the First Order. And it makes sense for Finn and Jannah, former stormtroopers who were brainwashed to oppose it. See, this is just too easy. It's low-lying fruit. We're gonna have some random Imperial officer try and start up the First Order again by kidnapping kids and training them to be stormtroopers. And then these two former stormtroopers are gonna prevent them or save them. It's just so low-lying fruit. It's so, like, think of something new and cool and interesting. You know what's funny? Trevorrow's Rise of Skywalker story had Finn saving a bunch of slaves and, you know, going against stormtroopers. And there was a little more to that arc. I don't remember exactly, but it was kind of already there and gave Finn a more prominent role. But they didn't do that, and now they're kind of doing that now, sort of, in a way. I don't know. The decisions they make are so weird and just not very compelling. It's interesting to note that the ship of children is rescued by the Resistance. This seems to suggest these events would be set shortly after the Rise of Skywalker, given you'd assume the Resistance would merge with whatever galactic government merges after the Battle of Exegol. Alternatively, it's possible there won't be a centralized galactic government anymore, with the Resistance remaining active as a power in its own right. That, I think, is okay. I would like that, actually. I would like to have not either Republic or Empire. That's okay. I can definitely pro that. That gives you just a whole pile of things you could do with splinter groups here and there. And I guess technically, you know, there might be First Order guys that want to, like, start it up again, but I don't know. I just get rid of them. Let's move on. Let's have a whole bunch of new groups. Maybe some of those officers go and join another faction of something else. Do something different. The most important question, of course, is whether Finn will be a Jedi. Rise of Skywalker certainly set out to be Force sensitive and suggests he has something resembling a Padawan bond with Rey. It's too late. The opportunity was there in the sequels. That's what should have happened. After Force Awakens, it was like, okay, so Finn and Rey are like a couple, kind of, and she's a Jedi, and you could see, you know, her and Luke both potentially training him or whatever, because she didn't need training from anybody. So maybe Luke would train Finn and she'd pretend she was being trained by Luke, just like in The Last Jedi. You know, and then you thought, you know, it would be Finn and her taking on, you know, whether it was Snoke or whoever it was. But now to do that, it's kind of like, that ship's kind of sailed. I don't know. I just don't think I don't think they're going to do that in this book, because how are you going to manage to do that? But anyway, unless Rey's in it, I guess, and she trains him, I guess. I don't want to see Rey train anybody, man, at this point. She's just, like, she's too powerful. She didn't even need training. How would she know how to train somebody in things that she just knows how to do without even having to think or do anything? The Last Order does have significant implications for upcoming movies, though. It suggests Lucasfilm has decided on the next steps for Finn and Jannah. Otherwise, Mbalia wouldn't have been commissioned to tell the story. That means this entire narrative may be important setup for the adventures after the Rise of Sky. I'm not excited. I don't know. Again, I go back to the whole duo thing, and they just blew it, and then blew it again, and then they blew it again. So I don't care. These people had 2 minutes of screen time together. Who cares? It's not exciting. I don't know, man. They screwed it up. It's too late. They screwed it up. Let me know in the comment section what you think. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Also, up the channel. Feel free to check anything else on my channel. Have yourselves a really good day.